Good morning, I'm Diane Macedo. Thanks for streaming with us. In today's update, President Trump has issued an order lifting restrictions on travelers from Brazil, the UK, Ireland, and much of Europe. Now, the move comes amid concerns of newer strains found in South Africa, the UK, and Brazil of the coronavirus. Now, the incoming Biden administration says the order will be reversed before it even takes effect. The soon-to-be press secretary writes on Twitter, "This is not the time to be lifting restrictions on international travel." Nearly 400,000 people have now died in the U.S. from COVID-19. Meanwhile, President-elect Biden will be the first president to be sworn in without any confirmed cabinet members. Those confirmation hearings started today with Biden's nominee for Secretary of Homeland Security vowing to keep the nation safe from threats like the assault on the Capitol.
The love for this country that I learned from my parents only made the January 6th attack on our Capitol all the more horrifying. If I should have the honor of being confirmed, I will do everything I can to ensure that the tragic loss of life, the assault on law enforcement, the desecration of the building that stands as one of the three pillars of our democracy, the terror that you felt, your colleagues, staff, and everyone present will not happen again.
Ahead of Inauguration Day tomorrow, all the major bridges entering the nation's capital are shut down, and thousands of federal agents and police are on high alert, along with 21,500 National Guard now on duty. And President Trump is preparing his final clemency list before leaving office. After considering pardons for himself and his children in the face of possible criminal investigations, sources tell ABC News that is now unlikely. But he is expected to issue over 100 other pardons for names like rapper and Trump supporter Lil Wayne, who tweeted this picture after meeting with the president in October. But not on the list is personal attorney Rudy Giuliani, whose business dealings are under investigation by federal prosecutors in New York. He tells ABC News he's not getting a pardon. And sources tell ABC News Speaker Nancy Pelosi may wait until Thursday or Friday to send the article of impeachment to the Senate. The Constitution dictates that once she does, the Senate trial has to begin at 1 p.m. the next day. And on President Trump's final full day in the White House, First Lady Melania Trump is bidding a farewell of her own. In a new video, the First Lady is defending her legacy, highlighting her work on cyberbullying and her personal touches to the White House. Our Tom Yamas has a closer look at the high points and low points.
My fellow Americans, it has been the greatest honor of my life to serve as First Lady of the United States.
First Lady Melania Trump saying goodbye to the White House and exiting just like she arrived, shrouded in privacy and facing unescapable controversy. In her farewell address, the First Lady defended her legacy, but also seemed to hint at the violence inflicted by her husband's supporters at the Capitol.
Be passionate in everything you do, but always remember that violence is never the answer and will never be justified.
From the start, Melania Trump made it clear she would be a different type of First Lady, initially refusing to move to the White House, reportedly so her son Barron could finish school in New York City. Then, a devastating story broke.
We're going to begin, though, with that new scandal rocking the White House.
Stormy Daniels.
Stormy Daniels.
The Wall Street Journal reporting the president's personal attorney at the time, Michael Cohen, made a hush money payment to porn star Stormy Daniels to cover up an alleged sexual encounter. In the only one-on-one interview she did with a broadcast network, she addressed this difficult time.
You did agree to this interview, to your credit, with no preconditions, knowing that there could be some tough questions asked. You're not the First Lady to have to deal with her husband's alleged infidelities. Has this put a strain on your marriage?
It is not concern and focus of mine. I'm a mother and a First Lady, and I have much more important things to think about and to do. I know people like to speculate, and media like to speculate about our marriage and circulate the gossip.
The scrutiny didn't end there. When the First Lady decided to take on cyberbullying as part of her Be Best initiative, many pointed to the irony that her husband was perhaps the biggest cyberbully on the planet.
What happened to you personally that you thought you wanted to tackle this issue?
I could say I'm the most bullied person on the world.
You think you're the most bullied person in the world?
One of them, if you really see what people are saying about me. And sometimes, you know, people would not say to you face to face, but they hiding behind the keyboards and that's the danger.
I've seen your speeches about Be Best. You make it a point to say adults have to set the example when it comes to Be Best and it comes to social media. Is it tough when your husband goes on Twitter, and he's also been known to name call and be so aggressive and to bully other people?
I don't agree always what he posts, but his action is his action, and I tell him that. I know I will be hit with criticism to talking about cyberbullying, but it will not stop me to do what is right.
The First Lady took her Be Best initiative to several countries in Africa to raise awareness about USAID programs there. But Mrs. Trump's actions, even when she tried to show goodwill, many times backfired. In Egypt, in front of one of the world's greatest sights, she seemed to turn the pyramids into a backdrop for an impromptu fashion show. And in one of her most notable moments, while visiting undocumented migrant children detained at the border, the First Lady was photographed wearing this jacket, which read, "I really don't care. Do you?"
Why did you wear it?
You know, I often asking myself, if I would not wear that jacket, if I would have so much media coverage. It's obvious I didn't wear the jacket for the children. I wore the jacket to go on the plane and off the plane. And it was for the people and for the left-wing media who are criticizing me, and I want to show them that I don't care. You could criticize whatever you want to say, but it will not stop me to do what I feel is right.
Mrs. Trump, a former model, did not let it stop her from expressing herself through her other fashion choices.
I think people will see her as someone who really did support her husband's agenda and was part of it and was part of the whole strange, norm-breaking, complicated legacy of the last 4 years. And her wardrobe choices were norm-breaking.
The First Lady also put her touch on the White House, renovating the bowling alley, the tennis pavilion, and repairing the Rose Garden, which did need some repairs, but she drew some criticism because she removed several trees and chose roses with paler tones. Her closest aides have said she did not seek the spotlight, that she did a lot of work, good work, behind the scenes. Reporting from the east side of Manhattan, Tom Yamas, ABC News. Diane, back to you.
All right, Tom, thank you. And the pandemic has made for a very difficult job market, but some are seeing it as an opportunity to make a career change. Chief Business and Economics correspondent Rebecca Jarvis has more on the people who seized the moment.
When Julie DeLong left her job as a professor in Texas to be closer to family in Illinois, finding a new gig wasn't easy.
I probably applied for over 100 jobs, and just really nothing was taking off.
So Julie decided to pivot.
I thought, well, you know, I know how to tutor, and a lot of parents are going to want help right now.
She created her business, The Traveling Tutor, and started using Facebook to build a clientele. And now what began as a way to make extra income has become so much more.
As it picked up, I thought, this is something I really do want to do as my actual career.
Even if you think you lack the education to be a tutor, consider what customer service representative Caitlin Causey did. She completed an online training to become a certified ESL teacher through Teachaway, a company that will also help to find her teaching and tutoring jobs remotely.
It's a great way to supplement my income right now. Like, I think everyone has seen some sort of effect from COVID, and you know, like, I'm just trying to help my family and stuff.
And Julie and Caitlin aren't alone. More than 2 million Americans have started freelancing in the last year, and people are launching businesses at the fastest rate in more than a decade, with business applications up more than 25% compared to this time last year. Like Nicholas Bryan, a chef in Tampa, Florida, who was laid off last March and started a meal delivery service called Pasta Packs with his brother Greg.
It was laid off on a Friday, and that Monday we hit the ground running.
Now, nearly a year later, the company is thriving, expanding beyond the Tampa area.
To have this type of success in a situation like this, it makes you think and feel like really, really special and like really lucky that, you know, we were able to somehow use the pressure of this situation to go in a positive direction.
But people aren't just using their current skill set in new ways. Jenna Postiglione works in commercial real estate, but learned to sew and embroider during the pandemic.
I didn't really have the job security in an industry that's rapidly changing because of COVID-19.
She created her Etsy shop, Son of a Stitch, in September, where she makes custom embroidered designs.
In less than a few months, I'm already at almost 300 sales.
And with sites like Upwork.com and Fiverr.com, you can find these types of freelance opportunities, everything from tutoring to cooking, web design, and fitness instruction. And keep in mind, there can be some startup costs here, so you want to make sure that ultimately over time those will pay off. You can look at these websites, figure out what you would make on an hourly basis, and make sure you can apply that level of consistency to your life to make this a real freelancing gig that truly pays you real money. Diane?
All right, sounds good. Rebecca Jarvis, thank you. And let's bring in investor and Shark Tank co-star Kevin O'Leary now for more on this. Kevin, good morning. Thanks for being here. What do you think are some of the most marketable skills for people trying to do what Rebecca's talking about, trying to do a career pivot?
Well, you'll notice those businesses that Rebecca was detailing were all direct to consumer, and that is what's occurring in America since March 7th. I call the Great Digital Pivot, America 2.0. All of these startups have done something very, let's call it even crafty. They figured out they can use the internet to acquire customers and sell them directly at practically 100% gross margin. And the key to that is to understand the technology. So step one is upgrade your internet from your home so that it can work properly when you're using the internet, because a lot of people have very poor bandwidth and they've got to fix that. But number two, the talents that really matter now are storytelling, script writing, photography, videoing, video editing, animation, because that's how you build a website, tell a story, and sell a product. I used to lecture all the time to business school grads saying, if you want a guaranteed job, number one is engineering, number two is engineering, number three is engineering. But today I'm wrong, because last year my number one expense was artists.
All right, there you go. But I'm curious, though, everyone that you're mentioning is an entrepreneur, someone who's decided to go out on their own. What about for people who want the security of working for an existing company? I know, especially for people who are in their mid-30s or older, it can be really difficult to get companies to even consider you.
Again, you have to go to the internet. Number one, LinkedIn with a 3-paragraph, no more than that resume. Nobody reads more than that. And number one messaging in that is to tell your prospective employer how you can help them execute their mandate. Don't talk about your dog from high school or you were great on the football team. Nobody cares. What they care about is what can you do to help them drive growth in their business. That's the most important thing you can deliver. But again, you've got to use technology. Every single platform, that is the new modern way. And by the way, getting a corporate job is great, but there's nothing wrong with a side hustle at night. That's what millions of Americans are doing now to supplement their income. And that's not going to stop. The whole world has changed. It's pivoted digital. You can do two things, work corporate and side hustle and bring in another $15,000 to $20,000 a year. It's worth doing.
And you never know. Sometimes a side hustle turns into the full-time gig. Maybe people even land on Shark Tank with it. But Kevin, how can people be sure that they will make enough money to justify a job switch, whether they're going off on their own or they're trying to pivot and work for a different kind of company? And how much should that factor into your decision?
Well, the great news now is that because you've got platforms like Facebook, and Rebecca detailed it, you can do geo-locked advertising. So in other words, there's a way to tell your story within the circumference of 100 miles or 60 miles or 50 miles that you actually want to go work, because many people in mid-30s raising kids don't want to fly to San Francisco for a job. They're trying to figure out how to do it even though they've been displaced. And there are millions of people displaced. But we have the tools. Across my portfolio, over 50 companies, 80 cents on the dollar in our digital spending for all kinds of things like recruiting is going to Facebook right now because of geo-locked advertising. So if you live in Tallahassee, you live in Chattanooga, or you're in Austin, Texas, you want to stay there and work there, spend your digital dollars wisely advertising yourself in your geographic region. The technology exists to do that now. And learn how to tell your story. Take a photograph, show video, get your personality out there, and it's worth doing because companies in many sectors like electronic vehicles or electric vehicles or all kinds of direct-to-consumer businesses are hiring like crazy right now. The economy is actually pretty good, even though we're in the middle of this horrific pandemic.
And you've talked about the skills that you see doing well right now. What are the businesses that you see booming right now and that you think will keep doing well after the pandemic?
Well, any business that's figured out how to sell direct to consumer, from a giant like Nike in their last quarter, showed that 50% of their business is now direct to consumer worldwide. They thought that would take them 6 years to achieve that. They did it in 5 months in the middle of the pandemic. Who did they hire to do that? Artists, photographers, videographers, animators, because they had to tell a story and they had to make a 59-second commercial or a 29-second commercial. These skill sets that used to be, at the hand of a teenager being really great on TikTok or something else are now required by corporations. There's no more starving artists out there. They're fully employed if they want to be.
All right, it's a good time for the creative. Shark Tank's Kevin O'Leary. It's always great to have you, Kevin. Thank you.
Take care.
You too. And that does it for this ABC News Live update. I'm Diane Macedo. Thanks for joining us. And remember, ABC News Live is here for you all day with the latest news, context, and analysis. I'll see you back here at 3 p.m. Eastern with Terry Moran for the breakdown.
Hi everyone, George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.